Hi everybody. The next project we're going to be doing on the channel is this, the USS Enterprise NCC 1701E, the ship for the next generation in all of their movies. And this is going to be a little bit different. We're not really reviewing it, we're going to be building it. So I'd expect this to take quite a while. A lot of the builds I've done on this channel, I've done just in a matter of 7 days, 10 days, because they're new products that we're trying to review before they get out to the stores. This has been out there for years, so we're going to build it kind of slowly. As so many people are home from work this week, we're going to be doing quite a few videos showing different steps in this build process and see how far we get done in 2-3 weeks. So in this video, we're just going to open it up, take a look at what we have. I am going to nerd out a little bit and show you two things where this model is inaccurate, a third thing that's just a little bit of interesting trivia, and overall tell you what we need to change if we're going to build this and light it. So first thing we're going to do, let's take a look at the box. Now this box art was actually done by John Eves. John Eves designed the ship. John Eves is a fantastic artist, and he did this picture for the 2013 reissue of this kit. So wonderful piece of art. And on the back, you get some pictures of a built model. This model was done by James Small of Small Artworks, and he's actually done all the round 2 models since then for the box art. All the Discovery kits will have his art on it. A little blurb about the ship on the box, and yeah, the only thing that's really changed since this model first came out for First Contact is just the stand. The first couple times this was issued, it would say like First Contact or Insurrection across the base, and it had kind of a long curved piece. As it's gone on, they've changed it so they don't call out the specific movie on the stand, and instead the plastic piece, they now just have a rod. But other than that, this is going to be exactly the same model as the 1701E has always been since First Contact came out. All right, we've got all the plastic out of the box, and this is actually a pretty big model. This is about 19 inches long. It's 1/1400th scale, so it pairs up with the classic 1701D that people have been building since 1988. And it pairs up with the Enterprise C. Those are really the only 3 official kits that are out in this scale. But they're the 3 next generation ships, so they go together pretty well. So looking at this, the first thing I really notice, there's not many detail pieces. There's lots of big pieces. You've got these fairly big nacelles. You've got the saucer halves and the hull halves. But as far as parts to like really add detail, there's really not much. You've got this little part for the underbelly. You've got this is like a control deck over the shuttle bay. But most of it is just done in the big parts. It's not like a lot of the Enterprise refit parts or TOS parts where you have like a separate bridge dome to put on. The bridge dome is going to just be right on the main part of the hull. But overall, this is just the breakdown you usually have in a Star Trek ship. 2 halves for the saucer. Each nacelle comes up in a half. Pylons, and then the main hull just done in 2 halves. So very easy assembly. One thing I will say that I really like is that they managed to do the pylons in halves. That will make it a lot easier when you light it, because it'll make it fairly easy to hide some wires inside those pylons. So let's get some good shots of the detail on this kit. So this is the engineering hull. You can see it does have many of the correct panel lines, and you will see all the windows are very nicely and uniformly stamped into the hull. So that is very nice. Tons of windows on this ship, and they are all closed. So if you want to light this, you'll have to open all those up, and we will show that on a video later in the week. Same thing on the saucer. See that we do have some very nice detail on this phaser strip right here. You'll be able to see that that does have the ribbing for the phaser array. You'll be able to see the same thing, nicely stamped windows. So very easy to paint. If you want to paint your windows, you'll have to open them up if you want to light them. But very nice job molding on this, and little bits of phaser decals there. And that's kind of what I mean about add-on parts. On the Voyager, they had thrusters very much like these that you put on as separate parts. On here, everything is just built into the main part. But you see that those phaser arrays, see if we can zoom in on those, do have some pretty nice detail on them. Looking at a nacelle, once again, very nice detail in there. Very crisp lining on those vents. Yeah, it doesn't need too much. And once again, the little thrusters on the back are done as part of the kit. So is the little navigation beacon on the top. On a lot of bigger kits, those navigation beacons would be a separate piece you'd plug in, so you're not trying to make a seam right in the middle of a round object. But overall, very nice molding. We get a very nice set of clear parts. As you can see, they are exceptionally clear, and they do have quite a bit of detail. So you can look at that deflector dish. You will see that it does have all the little spokes molded into it. On the impulse deck, you'll be able to see all of the grills are put onto it. That way you don't need to put photo etch over the clear parts. The nacelle grills, once again, very well molded, very nice lines. So you can see they've done a great job on the clear parts, and they've included enough clear parts that this model is very easy to light. If you want to do the nacelles, the thrusters, the deflector dish, very little is needed to change the actual kit to light it up. Unless you want to do the windows. And if you want to do the windows, it is a project. So I promised that we would look at two things that were inaccurate and one thing that was interesting. This is what I find is interesting. The Shuttle Bay Door is done in clear. And it's done in clear because at one point people were not sure if that would be a shuttle bay or an impulse engine. Now, model companies and toy companies start working on things like models and toys before the movies come out. So sometimes they're working off concept drawings. And this is a concept drawing that was done by John Eves before the movie came out. And you'll notice that on the tips of those nacelles, they did not have a cage around it. It was just a big glowing tip, kind of like the 1701D does. So the Playmates toy actually ended up with that carries over by the concept drawing. So here is the box from the First Contact Playmates E, and you'll notice that those nacelles are like in that concept drawing, no cage around them. You're also going to notice that here, where we actually ended up with impulse engines, we have shuttle bays on this toy, and we have a big impulse engine right here in the middle where the shuttle bay ended up being. And on the TOS Enterprise and the Refit Enterprise and on the D, they've all had this impulse engine in the very back middle of the saucer. So when we look at this clear part here, and they made this clear, that's because it was still up in the air, or maybe they just didn't get the memo that this was not going to be an impulse engine. It does not need to be a clear red. It doesn't need to be like this. It can be a solid piece. But that's still carried over into the model to have that part done in clear. Now that's not inaccurate. That's just kind of interesting. It's still a very accurate part. You just paint it so it's not clear. But we're going to look at two things that are inaccurate. So the first thing to look at is the deflector dish array. And what I want you to see here is this very straight line right here. It is a flat surface, and that's done to match the set where famously Picard and Worf go out and they fight some Borg there. So this part, this is flat. You can see there's a sharp straight line here and a flat surface for them to walk up to. Let's get to the other picture. This is the other picture you really need to look at. So this is the studio model of the 1701E. And what I want you to see here is the pylons go out straight. They go out straight from the ship, and then they curve up. So out straight, then up. So both of those are done inaccurately on the model kit. Let's look at the model kit on these. So we've got the two pylon halves. They'll fit together. And then they slot into the hull. And now we can kind of take a look just like that picture we just saw. And very different, isn't it? It just goes straight out. Just straight up at an angle. It does not go out like it should and then go up. So really, this part here, this part should have a flat surface to kind of square itself off, and then it should go up. So we can see that that isn't quite right. And looking at the other part, when we look at this deflector dish, you can see it is not flat. And Picard and Worf weren't walking around in a valley here. If you watch that scene in First Contact, you see this should be flat, not curved, and should come up to a straight flat line before this dish. Now, are any of those things something that detracts from the model? I don't really think so. You can go out and you can buy resin upgrades to replace all those parts and make it more accurate. You can buy resin upgrades to put on all the extra weapons that got added on for Star Trek Nemesis. But overall, this kit builds up very, very nicely out of the box. So thank you for watching this unboxing video. Over the next week, we're going to put out a video about how to put the windows into this ship, how to cut those out. We're going to show you how to put lights in the nacelles. We're going to show you how to run wires down the pylons. We should be able to do all that this week. I don't know if this week I'll be able to open up enough windows for us to light the engineering hull or the saucer. That's probably what's going to take us into doing this over 3 or 4 weeks. But we're going to show you how to build this kit, how to light it up, and we're going to show you overall how it builds. And we would like to thank everybody for following our builds. We're glad to do them. Hopefully they help you guys in your builds. Overall, in these kind of crazy weeks, we hope everybody is staying safe, taking care of your families, taking care of your communities. As things get crazy out there, just kind of be nice to everybody. And we appreciate you guys here on the channel. We appreciate you guys and your comments. We're going to put out these videos just to kind of keep things going. And we wish the best for all of you out there with your families and your friends.